Hello, this is day 17, and I have officially now been in Japan for 1 month. So it's been an interesting month. I feel like it's kind of what I expected that it would be, but also not at the same time. Like, I don't know, I'm just surprised that I've been here for a whole month already. Like, I don't know, it's just crazy, I think. Never did I ever think that I would actually be able to be in Japan, and actually not just Japan, but like even just be out of Canada. Like, it was kind of just like one of those things that I never thought that would happen. So I'm like kind of like really happy that it actually has happened, right? But these are just like general updates that I have. So first of all, I never thought that I knew that living by like myself in a foreign country would be kind of isolating, right? But I feel like this is kind of like a different type of isolation than I thought it would be, to be honest. Like, for example, if I were to study abroad in like England or something, then I feel like it would be isolating, but not as much as how it is in Japan. And the main thing is because of the language barrier, right? And like the cultural differences as well. So I feel like in Japan, everybody is kind of like just wants to be by themselves and like wants to just be in their friend group, kind of in their own like little world, right? Like, for example, when I go to the store in Canada, the person at the cashier would be like, oh, like, how's your day? How are you doing today? Right? But in Japan, it's not really like that. Like, maybe it's just because I don't, like, people just assume that I don't really know the language or like anything like that just because I am like a foreigner, right? And like that's probably a lot of what this is, right? Like, people don't really want to talk to me because I am a foreigner and everything like that. But I feel like it's like a different type of like isolation almost. Like, I feel like even when I'm at like school, like language school, it's such a diverse group of people that go there, and like almost all of them speak English, right? So it's like even when I'm there, I feel like people are a little bit more extroverted than how they would, like, how it seems to be just in general day-to-day life. But it's like also like harder to like actually connect with people because of the cultural differences, right? Like, even if I were to make a friend from, like, let's say America, right? Because like in my school, I feel like I'm one of the very few Canadian people, and like people think that there's not that much difference between like Canada and America, but there is like differences, right? There are cultural differences. So even if I were to make a friend from America, I would be like, oh, like I can like relate to them a little bit more. But it's like not the same as like how, if it would be if like somebody from Canada, right? And like I'm not opposed to making friends from other cultures. Like, I think that would be like really cool, right? But it's just like having that sort of barrier in between understandings of certain things definitely does make it hard, which is not really something that I thought would be an issue. Because when I was in Canada, I had a lot of friends that were not Canadian, right? They were like international students, whatever, right? So it's like I made friends with them pretty easily, but I think it's because it's the common ground of being in Canada and me being a Canadian that makes it a little bit easier for me. Like, that was made it easier for me to make friends, kind of thing, right? Whereas here, I'm the foreign student, and like I'm the one that's kind of like not supposed to be here, but like I'm the one that kind of like sticks out, right? And like, I don't know, it also could be a thing like maybe I just don't want to make any more friends because I have all my friends back home and I feel like I don't want to replace them. Haven't really moved on from that yet, maybe, but I don't know, like I feel like yeah, I don't know, that could be a potential. But I feel like just in general, I never really understood how like almost isolating the situation would be until I actually got here, right? And like I feel like I've missed certain things that I never really thought that I would miss. Like, for example, I knew that I would miss my friends and my family, like obviously that's like a given, like but I never really understood about like how it would be to actually like leave my family. It wasn't even till like the last 2 days that I was in Canada that I really understood that I wasn't going to be around my friends and my family anymore, right? So it's like it was kind of like a little hard when I was first coming here to be away from my friends and family. because it's like, I don't know, it's like that's everything that I know, right? Like everything that I'm used to is just like kind of gone, you know? Like I'm being put into an uncomfortable situation willingly because I did it to myself, kind of thing, right? But it's like, I feel like you never really understand the situation fully until you're experiencing the situation, right? Like I always knew that I was gonna like miss my friends and my family, but I didn't know how much until I actually moved, right? But it's like not only that, like just like random things back in Canada that I miss, right? Like I miss like random book series that I never read, that I haven't read in like so long. Like there was this series of books that I read since I was 12, and like that book series, I haven't read it in so long, but I miss it so much. But it's like, it's weird. I think it's because I miss the situation in the environment in which I was reading it in, like because it was around since I was 12. So it's like I feel like there's this thing that's missing from my life, but it's like just like the stupidest things, right? Like it's just like so dumb, you know? Like a book series, wow, like a story, like I don't know. I think it's weird. It's weird that I miss like these weird things, like just like these really weird particular things. And like I miss like my mom's cooking, for example, because it's like it wasn't very good. Like my mom's cooking wasn't the greatest, but it's like it's still like my mom's cooking, you know what I'm saying? Like I can cook, but it's like just like the plainest things, right? And like I cook a lot of the things that I used to make when I was with my boyfriend in Canada, and like I feel like it's different making it by myself than making it with somebody that I actually care about, right? Like I feel like that's something that I never actually thought about either before I came here, is like usually every meal that I would eat, I would be with somebody, right? Like whether it would be my brother or my family or my boyfriend or something, I would always be eating a meal with somebody. But like here I'm eating my meals by myself, and I guess with like a show that I'm watching or something, or like my homework, right? Like I feel like that's also like kind of what adds to my feelings of like isolation almost, right? And like I've noticed that even since being here, I kind of have these feelings of like, I feel like I've kind of figured out some things about myself, right? Like in Canada, I always loved to just like be out with people. Like almost every single night I would hang out with people and like be with people or do something, right? Like every single day, almost like pretty much every single day, right? But then here I don't really hang out with anybody. Well, I don't hang out with anybody, right? And it's just like I feel like that's like such a big difference for me, because I feel like in Canada I was an extroverted person. Like I really just like to be out and do stuff. But in Japan I feel like I'm kind of an introverted person, and like I feel like it's not a bad thing. I like to be by myself. That's something that I've noticed about myself, is that I do like to be by myself. And I don't know, if I had friends, I would obviously go hang out with them and do stuff, right? Because there's certain situations where I did wish that I had somebody to hang out with and go there, because it's like I don't want to go by myself, right? But it's like you kind of just got to go by yourself, you know? Like you kind of just have to do it, because you shouldn't be relying on other people to be there for you, to help you do these things. You just like do it by yourself, because that's pretty much how it's gonna have to be with me being here, right? Like I'm gonna have to do everything by myself, right? So it's like I feel like there's a little bit of anxiety and like embarrassment that I experience when doing certain things by myself, like or like going to a restaurant by myself or something like that, right? I don't know, I feel like that's and like something I never really thought about either. Like see, there's so many things I never really thought about or never would have even guessed to think about before I got here. But I feel like that's one thing that I never thought about, is like me having to do things by myself. Like I know that sounds kind of like silly, but like when I was in Canada, I would always have like somebody to go with, like my brother, family, friends. I would always go do stuff and like do new things with them. But here it's like I just have to do it by myself. Like if I want to go eat at a restaurant, it's gonna have to be by myself, right? And I don't know, it's not like I don't like I like being alone. Like that's something that I never thought that I would actually like, is like being alone, because I've never really been alone. I've like ever, pretty much. because even when I moved out of my parents' house, I was with my brother or friends, right? Like I've never really been like alone for this extent ever. So it's like I feel like I'm starting to like learn more and more things about myself and like how I am and like stuff like that. And like I'm excited to be able to actually like do certain things that I never have been able to do like when I was with other people too, right? Like I don't know, I feel like it's going to be like a journey to like find kind of like who I am, but also like who I kind of want to be, right? So I think, I don't know, I've had a lot of time to think with being by myself. So I feel like being here so far has been like obviously it's been fun and everything, but it's also been kind of like a journey to understand like myself and who I want to become and what's like kind of important to me. So I feel like I'm just excited to learn more, you know, and grow more and become somebody that I want to be, kind of thing. Become better than what I was before and just continually improve who I am to like and like be happy with who I am too, right? Like I don't know, I feel like when you move and you're put into an uncomfortable situation, you grow and adapt. Like you have to grow and adapt. So I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing now. Like it's hard and like there's certain things that I still need to like comprehend and understand, but I feel like I'm starting to do that and starting to grow and adapt to my situation.